Good morning, everyone. We are just running a couple of minutes late. Otherwise, I would have been off my speech. I would have to say good afternoon, but thank God we are still before noon. So I would like to start by thanking Long Island University on this gorgeous day, beautiful spring, which we never thought we'll have after this brutal winter. So I want to thank Long Island University for allowing me to be in front of you. I want to thank Dr. Shailendra Palvia, Professor of Management, Dr. Andrew Rossman, the Entrepreneurial Dean at the College of Management, and most, if not all, the great TEDx team who put it all together. Can you please join me in giving them a big round of applause? Now, thank you. My topic today is what I didn't learn in school. If you speak with any of my schoolmates, they say you got that right. However, truth be told, that's not correct. I learned a lot at school, but I'm going to share with you the lessons that I learned after I left the school. So, like Matt in his wonderful introduction said, I funded or founded 8 different businesses. What happened here? Okay, let me try again. Okay. So, learning to me is a lifelong quest. I am reminded of a Russian proverb, "Vek živi, vek uchis." Live for a century, learn for a century. I live my life in 3 different channels: learning, earning, and returning. So I want to tell you where I come from. Most of you probably didn't hear of this small town called Indore, pronounced outdoor Indore, in central India. But this is where I grew up. And this is the year of my graduation, the picture from one of those times. So when I was growing up, I was academically somewhat bright. So I graduated high school at the age of 15, usually 16 or 17. But when I got to college, I couldn't pass the medical entrance test. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, and my heart was not into it. So I failed. I failed twice. My parents lowered their expectation, and they said to me, as long as you can feed yourself, we don't have to worry about you. We are fine. Having been liberated from this, I thought that should not be difficult. My dad was a manager of a bank. And bank jobs in those days were as cushy as you can get. Good pay, fixed hours, and life was great. And I thought that job is in my pocket. Who is hiring? My dad. So I went up to my dad one day, and I said, I would like to apply for a job. So this is what I look like when I apply for a job. Now, this is what my father said to me, which is very important. He looked at me and said, first you deserve, then you desire. My heart sank. My own father doesn't appreciate the talent which I thought I had. Who else would? So I did soul searching for a couple of weeks, and I was sort of in a daze, like all the doors are shut on you. I'm sure some of you have experienced failure, am I correct? You know the feeling of lonely, despair. So then, 2 weeks later, it just so happened that a friend of mine, and that tells you what kind of company I had, graduated at the top of his class. So in India, at that time, there was one university, several colleges, and each college competed with the other to get the top spot, and he did. And he was awarded a gold medal. So he invited me to come. I went to this ceremony, and here is this guy literally walking, rather strutting to the center of the stage. And the vice chancellor garlanded him with a gold medal, just like an Olympic medal, in a beautiful ribbon. That image got sunk into my head. I had never seen success up close that I saw that day. And when I saw it, I said I wanted it. And I constantly started dreaming and envisioning that one day I'll be at the stage getting a gold medal. So this is what I learned. We have to take the ownership of our future. Dreams that we dream while we are sleeping, we forget. Dreams that keep us awake and do not allow us to sleep help us build our destiny, help us build our future. So that's what I did. I said to myself, I'm going to enroll in a master's program, and I'm going to get a gold medal. In fact, I was so confident that I took a bet with one of my cousins. It was a fairly expensive bet. He never fulfilled on the bet, but I took the bet. And I was awarded a gold medal 2 years later. My father My father actually went to the gold medal ceremony. He never used to take a day off, and he did, and that's the gold medal I got. So after I got the gold medal, it just so happened that instead of me getting a job as a teller, remember, I was rejected, a bank hired me directly as an officer. For every 100 or so tellers, they would hire one officer. And I'm now directly working as an officer. I'm 21, I'm supervising people. Everybody makes more money than I do, they know more than I do, yet I'm their boss. Quite an experience. I worked very hard for 3 years, and then in 3 years, the bank promoted me as a manager. Remember, my dad is a manager, I'm a manager, obviously different level. And then what happened is I go to my father, and I said to my dad that I would like to go and I'm sorry, there's something happening here. I apologize. Okay, he said that I went to my father and I said, I would like to, they've been promoting me as a manager, so I would like to go and join the bank as a manager. And I want to also recap my key learnings up to the point I got the gold medal. So number 1, take ownership. Number 2, follow your passion. Number 3, visualize your dream. I'm a living example of how, when I visualize it, what happened to me. And then also have self-confidence. So then I go to my father, and my father, I shared the news that, Dad, I'm becoming a manager. And in his usual style of one-line killers, this is what he tells me. A mature teller is better than an immature branch manager. Now, friends, I'm completely bewildered. I wasn't fired. I wasn't demoted. I'm being promoted. But I was young, I was foolish, and I was naive. I did not understand the depth and wisdom of what my father was saying. There are no shortcuts in life. You had to learn your subject. You had to gain proper experience. And I didn't pay attention to it. I just said, you know what? I want to be a manager. So I became a manager. And 2 months later, my father met with an accident. And, oh, I'm sorry. What happened is that when, just give me a minute. So another thing, my father saw that I'm going to become a manager, so he pulled me on the side a couple of weeks later, and he gave me these 4 guiding principles of success. He said, judge your success by how fast you fall asleep when your head hits the pillow. It's not the amount of money in the bank, it's not the kind of car you drive, it's not the kind of house you live in. One measure, simple, how fast you fall asleep. Second thing he said, your integrity is like a piece of glass. You can only crack it once. If I said something to you that you find to be incorrect, you will never believe me again. And that's it. Third thing he says, always speak the truth. This way you don't have to remember who you told what. Life is easy and you can sleep better. And the last thing is more inclined towards banking at the time, which every manager or every authority would take some money as a bribe. And he said, don't take bribe. What he was saying is that remain honest. Don't get involved. Don't lower yourself to that level of corruption. Anyway, roughly 2 months later, my father met with an accident. I brought him to the hospital, and he died in my arms. He died because we did not have basic, simple injection like anti-clot shot. That the first thing is given when somebody goes to the hospital with an accident. His 4 principles become my guiding light, and I lived my life through those principles. And they are good for personal as well as professional career. Couple of years later, I'm working in the bank, and one of my professors shows up. And he said, Rakesh, you got to go to America. It's the fantastic place to learn. I just came from there. And I said, I don't have any money. He said, you don't need the money. There are fellowships available. People who are bright, money is not an object. So he gave me this application for Rotary Foundation Fellowship. So I applied for the Rotary Fellowship. First, I was selected from my city. Then I was selected from the state. Then 3 states. They called it a district at the time. So I'm there. And in 1979, I landed here. Now, before I came here, there was something that crossed my mind. I'm young. I'm a manager. I have a great career ahead of me. Why should I go to America? And then I came across this fork in the road, and I realized that even though I'm a manager, even though my father did not help me, the perception is that you are there because of somebody's help. And I didn't want to live with that perception. I want to build my own career, being an entrepreneur, be dependent on my own abilities. So I came to USA. It's a great place. It's a land of opportunity. I got the Rotary Foundation Fellowship. I came here in '79. I graduated in 1981. And one thing that I really admire about this country is the place we are standing right now. The great institutions of learning, where the innovation is promoted, ideas are shared, thoughts are challenged and exchanged in an open way with proper respect. And this is what I saw when I came here. I walked into the library, and first of all, I asked them, how many books can I get? They say, as many as you want. In India, we had obviously a small library, and you are allowed only 2 books at the time. Today, it's much different. And in India, teachers are respected like God. With that attitude, I did very well. I graduated on this list, had a great rapport with my teacher. And I walked into the library, and I saw this inscription. Stupid questions are those that are not asked. Remember, Arel talked about questions? This life is all about asking right questions. Joanna also talked a little bit about failure. So this is what my key learnings at this point are. Now, I'm going to bring you into my professional world in America, and we talk about a little bit. So my first job, I'm working as a clothing salesman. 1981 was a deep recession. I couldn't get a job. So I'm working as a salesman. I had to do something. And I'm teaching finance at night. A friend of mine comes and says, Rakesh, there is a job as a controller. Apply. I said, I don't even know what a controller does. And I was so down in the recession, a lot of my friends didn't get job, and I felt so insecure that, I probably won't be hired. I said no to myself before others could say. So anyway, a week later, he calls again. And luckily, my wife was sitting right next to me. So she said, what's going on? I said, hey, there's a job. She said, go apply. You're no worse off than where you are anyway today. So I went, and I applied, and I got the job. The job offered $300 a week. It was a TV studio right on Fifth Avenue. So when I walk in there, my boss comes into my office, and he said, Rakesh, you see this big computer? It's a piece of junk. Just throw it out the window and get yourself a new computer. Now, my English was, still not that great, but at that time, you can imagine. So I said, throw it out the window. Windows don't open. People walking on Fifth Avenue. Somebody might get killed. How can I do that? Then I said to myself, I never even owned a calculator in my life. How bad a computer could be by definition. A car has to be better than a bicycle. Some people may disagree. So then what happened? I started working that computer with no manual, no internet, no 800 number, no help desk support, and I made it work. Not only I made it work, the reporting that came out of that computer was phenomenal. We were able to pinpoint where we are losing money, where we are making money. In a short period of 6-7 months, the company went from losing money to being very profitable. So my salary, by the way, went from $300 to $1,300 in 3 years. That's another story. So my boss calls me up after about 4 months into his office and said, Rakesh, I'm going to give you a raise. $50 raise, almost 17%, And I said, very good. He said, what would you do with this money? Without missing a beat, I said, I'll buy a car, a red BMW. So my boss, in his very wise man, dropped out of the high school, but he taught me more about finance. He bent down, he said, Rakesh, a car depreciates, a house appreciates. I went home and I told my wife, forget the car, we have to buy a house. And we have been saving money. We started taking out a small sum for our living expenses, and we built the American dream. In 2 years of me joining that firm, I bought my first house. And that thread or that streak has continued, earning, saving, and then investing for future. So these are the few nuggets of wisdom until this point in my life. Wife is right. When I said that I won't take the $300 job, he said, you're selling clothing for commission. This is predictable cash flow as opposed to unpredictable cash flow. I said, okay. And another thing, and this is not a joke, we all have blind spots which we cannot see. Please, I belong to a peer learning group. The advice that I get there is invaluable. Form a group of 4, 5, 6, 10 people around you that you can trust and you can exchange ideas. That's probably the best thing I did as an entrepreneur. Second thing, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Speaking here is not comfortable, but once you become comfortable, it has good rewards. Be ready, the opportunity knocks. My friend called me, he said, here's a job that changed my direction. As you will see, what I did in accounting, I automated that process, I created a set of procedures, and I built a business that I sold to American Express, just using that one experience. And it's okay to fail. Just try. As long as you get up and you keep trying. So these are the series of investments that I made in my life, and the reason I'm going to just touch upon them to give you a flavor for what, once you start to dream and visualize, you can achieve. First company in 87. By the way, I left that TV studio, went to another company, and the third company, the boss says, open a business. Why do you want to work for somebody? So that's how I founded this business. I sold it to American Express in 99. Second business is a hotel in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I still own it. Third business is very interesting. My brother called me. He said, we bought a building, and we want to build a hospital there. And my thoughts went to my father. And I said, look, we lost our father. Let's hope somebody else doesn't. At least we can provide them critical care. So we opened one of the finest heart hospitals. Today we got 4 hospitals there. I'll show you a quick picture. And then I built a hotel in Long Island. I bought a nursing home when I left American Express. Then I also invested into windmill, clean power. And then I built a learning academy. We bring speakers from both US and UK to India. And it's a reverse outsourcing because these speakers are talented people. And they go to India, they talk to CEOs there, and then they get hired to work as a consultant. So it's quite an amazing story. Then I founded a real estate fund in 2009. And we have grown roughly 1,400% in the last 4 years. So my message, take risk. It's okay to fail. Don't fear failure. Failure is nothing but success delayed, not denied. I had to sum it up by saying that I'm not an extraordinary guy. I'm just an ordinary guy. And if I can do it coming from another country in this strange land, you can do it. I want to leave you with this final thought, the difference between success and happiness. Success is in big things, and it takes time. It took me almost 7, 8 years to build my first company. But happiness is in small things, going home, hugging your family. Right now, my joy is my grandson. You can see his picture there. So I'm done. Thank you so much for patiently listening to me.
Incredibly inspirational speech. Do we have any questions? Any questions?
Yes.
Right here.
So you seem to have, somebody tells you something and you have a thought and then you just go do it. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like with your companies and businesses. Do you have any thoughts what your next 2, 3, I'm just trying to figure out how your mind works, because you just seem to have it so with ease, where someone says something, it hits, and then you go act on it. So I think what I'm looking for is, when you have that thought, between the thought and the action, what is it that you're thinking or doing or...
That's a fantastic question. Our question is, somebody says something to you and you do it. So what is the next thought? I'm waiting for you to say something to me. Ideas can come from anywhere. See, when I did the first accounting system implementation, I didn't know that it could be a foundation for a company. It just, I did whatever I could do. I was passionate about it, and I did it. And then slowly and gradually, the idea dawned on to me that, hey, it's a sellable commodity. It can be packaged. In that company, we went on to automate about 500 businesses before American Express bought us. So stuff like that. Another friend came to me. She said, Rakesh, we're building a hotel. We are short some cash. So I not only helped him, invest money with him, but I also raised money for him. So I think it's just maybe I was lucky. I got opportunities one after the other. Like my brother called me right after I sold my technology company. I had money. I said, money sitting in the bank doesn't do me any good. In a hospital, we are saving lives. So it happens. I believe that, once you have faith and you take the leap, the net appears. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right. Excellent. Thank you very, very much. Excellent job. Thank you.